is a difference between you and me. We both looked into the abyss. But when it looked back at us, you blinked.
Hi guys, I'm Gravity here, and this is a DC Legends video. In this video, we're going to do, saying top 5 reworks is a bit of a misnomer, but I'm just going to title it top 5 reworks. But really, the genesis of this idea came from Dr. Zibarro, who's joining me right now.
Hi there.
And also Bizarro #1, to give him a shout out. He is also part of the inspiration of this video. Bizarro #1 is a subscriber to my channel, and he very often in the comment sections will put in like rework ideas for toons. And at first I was like, oh my God, what is he doing? And then I actually started reading the reworks, and it was like, oh, this isn't a guy who's just trying to make one of his favorite characters into a god. He actually like really does good, detailed, balanced work on how the rework should be. So it was like, big shout out to him. And I asked him for his top 5 toons that he believes should be reworked. So we'll get into all of that in a little bit. But first, I would like Dr. Zibarro to introduce his reasoning for this idea. We've been talking about this. We talked about doing this video like months ago, and thanks to me being like stupid busy for some reason, this is only the chance we've had to do it. So I'm gonna let Dr. Zibarro take it over from here and let you guys know the genesis of this idea and how it works in his head.
Well, real quick, before I get into that, based on your shout out, I didn't know this. So
I'm sorry.
To your subscriber, engaged subscriber, Bizarro, if he's actually writing out these full kits, the best thing I would advise for you to do, Bizarro, is to go to Joker's Discord channel. He has, or a Discord server. He has a channel on his server specifically for this, and
that I didn't know. Yeah, okay, cool.
And Joker shares this information sometimes with the dev, so it has a chance of going into, potentially being influential, whereas posting in a comment on YouTube.
This makes sense now, because I remember on a podcast from WROL like a couple of years ago where when there was a rework, I can't remember the specific toon, but they were like, oh yeah, WB finally listened to my idea. This is almost exactly what I wrote. And I was like, oh, well, that's kind of cool. I thought that just because they were
you have to
mods,
go to
that they had
Joker's
voices.
Discord
I didn't realize that. Okay. So yeah, go to Joker's Discord channel. Definitely go to shout out to Joker and his Discord channel. So Bizarro #1, if you're watching this, I hope you are. Check out Bizarro's Discord channel. I don't know. In fact, maybe maybe I can find a link. Joker's Discord. If I can find the link, because this video is going to come out for a little while, I'll try to find the link and put it in the description below. So check to OB who's rewatching this. Hey OB, pause the video right now and go find that link. All right, that was me talking to myself for you guys who don't understand that, because I have to rewatch all this stuff every time. So in any case, back to Dr. Zibarro explaining the genesis of this idea.
All right. So this is something that I came up with some time ago, probably early this year, and I did the work for this, but didn't do much with it. But the idea was really, when you think about, I particularly have thought about it from having a lot of that essence that you have for the offer wall. So there's a point where you've collected everyone on that offer wall, and you're like, well, there might be a character that I can keep collecting because they might get a good rework. I don't know. And I have in the past have speculated on some and made a good shot. So I predicted Martian Manhunter, who was in that shop for a very long time before he was reworked. In fact, I think I was collecting him for a year every time he came up. And not only did I like the character, I sort of speculated that he would be good. And he turned out to be an S-tier character when he was reworked. Now, what we're doing today is speculation. Let's be absolutely clear about that. The idea is reworks, speculation on reworks from farmable characters. And the idea is, who should you bother with? And again, this is totally speculative, so you'll have to take this with a grain of salt. But it's going to be based on evidence. And so my method here is I looked in the alliance packs, I looked in red alerts, I looked in the arena packs, and I looked in the campaign. And I listed all the characters that are farmable. Some of those characters are in both places or more than one place. And then I excluded all the reworks all the reworks before 2019, because then you start going back in the archives and they're old and they need a second rework.
Yeah. And
then I excluded all A-tier characters from these areas too, because there are already characters that work. So like Wonder Woman, Princess of Themyscira. Although she probably could use a bump and a rework, she still works very, very well as she is.
She's still incredible. Yeah.
So A-tier characters are left out. And then the last thing is no, that's all I needed to say. So so this list only includes characters from the tier list issued by WROL that are B, C, or T. And that boiled down to 20 characters. So I'm going to read those off here, what that boiled down to. Those 20 characters are Dr. Fate, Freddy Shazam, Wonder Woman, Defender of Justice, Zatanna, Bane, Batman CC, Black Canary, Harley Quinn Quite Vexing, Captain Cold, Cyborg. Those are C tier. B tier is Swamp Thing, Deadshot Hired Gun, Emerald Archer Green Arrow, Talia al Ghul, Batman Beyond, Black Lightning, Killer Frost, and Catwoman. And then I skipped the trash tier, and there's two in that tier. That's Aquaman, Aquamoa, as people call him. What is his real name? I forget it because I wrote Aquamoa.
Oh, you mean the actor's name?
Not. I know why they call him Aquamoa, because it's based on the actor's name, but I'm saying in the game, what's he called? What's his little subtitle?
Oh, good question. Rider.
Rider of the King Tide?
Rider of the King Tide, that's it. Yeah.
Okay. And then Nightwing is also in the trash tier. Okay, so those are the 20. And so the idea is,
don't worry, I'm gonna put the names up on the screen so that people aren't like trying to have to listen to it. Like in the video, the names will show up as you read through them.
So the idea here is, which characters out of all of these could, and we have to use evidence, and the idea is, first of all, understanding that usually, but not always, we've been surprised before. The devs do a tweak of the kit and don't do radical changes to the kit.
Yeah. That
is not always true. But based on that, and then also precedents and reworks. So I'm going to be making an argument about one of the particular characters based on some themes that they've been doing that I think might potentially make them work.
Yeah.
Okay, so that being said, let's get into it. Which characters do you think?
Okay, so here's the deal. Now, you go at this from a, I don't know, scientific / analytical point of view, and I go at this from a more marketing point of view, meaning I did a similar thing that you did, but it came to Black Adam. Now, back in 2019, when that movie Shazam came out, I saw that Black Adam was in the Alliance shop that you described. And so basically what I ended up doing was I just bought all of his frags that I could from that shop. And the thought process was, as soon as that movie hits theaters, they're going to rework Black Adam because I've literally never seen him being used. And then the movie came out, that Black Adam rework came out where he became like this beast, basically this like solo campaign farmer, solo purple essence farmer, massive mystic damage dealer. And that was the whole genesis for it. So like basically the names that I took, or a couple of them, like there's
let me just insert before you jump in there. I think that's actually a good method too. It differs a little bit from mine, but I think that works because you can get a sense that, oh, this character it has a higher chance of being reworked. And generally speaking, a reworked character is a little bit better, although they may not necessarily be a solid character like we think of the A tier characters. But it's in the potentiality of them getting worked up. Okay, so sorry to interrupt. I wanted to throw that out.
So no worries.
It's all speculation at the end of the day.
Yeah, this is all speculation and maybe even a little bit of wishful thinking. But what I will say is I think, because Bizarro gave me his list, I think I'm going to save that for last so we can both discuss each of those tunes in case any of them come off of the list. So Bizarro's list will come after our 2. I've written down 5, you've written down 5, and I told you my list before. How many on our list do we have in common before I say what the list is?
I think Dr. Fate is the only one. And that's the main one on my list too.
Okay, so then let's just start off with Dr. Fate, and I will read off his kit because we both think that he's due for a rework. The reason I think he's due for a rework isn't necessarily to do with marketing, which just goes completely against what I just said, but it's basically because I literally never see him at all whatsoever. Not in PvP, not in red alerts. Like he just does not show up except for Dr. Zibarro. And I had a phone call before this, we spoke right before this, and it was, he shows up for half a day when he's one of those PvP, PvE, have to use him for your alliance thing, so he'll get into the mix kind of. But other than that, you never ever see him. So Dr. Zibarro, why did you put him on your list?
All right, so one of his biggest flaws is that he's slow.
As slow. Frozen syrup.
But if you look at the way they've been fixing slow characters in reworks, they will fix that. There's 2 ways. The one, they've been bumping up the speed a little bit. But the key way that they've been working that works incredibly well is they've been making them a retaliation character. Yeah. So Grundy, for example, will hit, and he and Grundy is also one of those ones where you want him to be a little slower because he's a meat shield, and you want him to absorb that, have a high HP pool. Dr. Fate probably will not be reworked into a taunter. I doubt that. And whether he keeps his leadership or not, I don't know. But he does a lot of good stuff, is why I say that. So he has heal immunity. He has massive amounts of shield.
Let me just read, because let me read through his kit real quick. Special damage to an enemy. Let me go ahead. Special damage to an enemy and a 60% chance to apply heal immunity. Apply 30%, and I think that's even more so, 40% shield. And also apply 3 intelligence ups to entire team. Special damage to an enemy. Always apply heal immunity. Purge 7 buffs from targets. He does do a lot of good stuff. 20% chance to deal light damage to an enemy at the start of their turn if they have immunity debuffs. Okay, and then plus 50% damage. And then team lead silence any enemy that is healed. Gain 1 awareness and apply 1 awareness to a random ally when Lord of Orders is triggered. This kid isn't bad at all.
No, and that's one of the reasons. And I need to add the second wet theme in the way they've been reworking slow characters. There's really 2 ways that I've been seeing. The primary one is retaliation. The second way that they've been, and thematically have been making slow characters work in the reworks is doing to them, giving them the ability to add massive benefits to their teammates. And Lex SSS is the prime example of that. When he was reworked, all the benefits that he does for his teammates, especially that heal, when he was like, he was sitting on the shelf and nobody's paying attention to him.
For everybody.
And then he got reworked and everybody's like, whoa, what happened here? I think Dr. Fate has that potential. I think he has the potential to be, if he's made in that way. But again, we have absolutely no idea what they'll actually do with him or if they'll do anything.
I think really if they wanted to do something for him, first of all, kind of like with General Zod, remove the team leader, make that ability just a straight up passive ability. If you take his team leader, which is silence enemies that are healed, and then gain 1 awareness and apply an awareness to a random enemy when Lord of Order is triggered. If you take that away as a team leader, just make that a passive ability and change the gain 1 awareness, but put gain 1 awareness and the entire team gains an awareness when an enemy is healed. That is huge already. No matter what else is in his kit, that's massive. Because now, if Lex starts healing enemies, then you're getting awareness for your entire team. And so it doesn't matter how slow he is. And if it's a passive, and if it's just a passive and not a team leader, I can plop him in my 4th slot and just let him be that support champion. He can be basically a barter that doesn't need to get hit and gives awareness instead of stamina ups.
Yeah, that's how I would like to see him. I think out of all of the farmable characters that need a rework, that haven't had, let me put this, that haven't had a rework, it, at least not since 2019, then I think he's the number one in my mind that had as a candidate to be a very, very good rework.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. So give me who's next on your list.
I don't have them in any particular order. So
no, it's not an order thing because it's not.
Yeah.
You can't predict the likelihood of this. That there's only one on my list that I feel like is a likely candidate for next month, and that's it. Everyone else is going to be basically. I just think they're going to have a rework coming soon.
Yeah. So I think really Dr. Fate was sort of the impetus for my total speculation here. But I figured, well, we'd add, make it like sort of, let's focus on 5 of them. And I think I would add Bane to this list, and the reason why I say Bane. Well,
this is where we're going to disagree, but go ahead, go for it.
He just suffers from, well, if they rework him, I mean, I think part of what we were briefly discussing before we got on recording here is that you don't think he'll ever be reworked, and I don't know that I agree with that. But that's speculating too. But let's say that he is reworked. If he were, even if they just bumped up, give him a little bit of power boost because he suffers very seriously from power creep. Power creep is so terrible in the game right now, in my opinion. Yeah. I used Deadshot Hired Gun the other day, which I used years ago, like one of my main characters. And he one-shotted Blues, and he barely took away 1/3 of Black Flash's health when he was in the Alliance mission. I'm like, what is happening? What happened to Deadshot? Anyhow, okay, I digress. So back to Bane.
Well, no. Okay, no, time out. Now, this might have happened to you, but this happened to me in a video, and I had a subscriber catch it. 2 subscribers catch it, actually. I tried to use Deadshot Hired Gun to take out Black Flash, and I was like, what in the world happened? Because I think it was barely half of his health. And then 2 of them came up, and they were like, he had crit immunity on when you shot him. That's why I didn't take him out. And I was like, that would make sense. So maybe that Black Flash that you shot had crit immunity on him. So I don't know if you had the same issues I had.
That's possible. But still, even if he had crit immunity, which, that critting is Deadshot's niche.
Yeah.
But even that, it shouldn't be 1/3 of his health.
Fair.
Come on.
Yeah, fair. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, 2/3 or 90% or something. But yeah, okay. I see your point. Anyway, continue. As you were saying, on with Bane.
Okay, so I think one of the main reasons that Bane stands out to me now is the fact that I've, on many occasions, been surprised by, and I have an RB2 Arcus, and I could take him to probably RB4, I think, but I'm holding back.
I have an RB2 Bane, just saying.
And I have hit regular Banes
with
my Arcus, and then he didn't, with his 2, and he didn't kill him.
Okay, hold on, time out. So you've hit regular Bane with an RB2 Arcus and didn't kill the Bane?
Yes, that has happened a few times.
So then what's the reason for needing the rework?
He suffers from power creep.
So you think he just doesn't hit hard enough himself?
Yes.
Got you.
And then if he's reworked, they always bump his HP stats too.
Well, he has pretty high HP stats. His HP is on par with Barda.
I know. That's why I'm saying if he were reworked.
Yeah. I don't know if
his
they would boost
HP would, unless they changed his gear set. Which, why would you do that for Bane?
They wouldn't.
I don't think they would. But if he maintains his gear set and they just bump him up, he's going to be a beast again, like he used to be.
Well, here's what I would say, and I think part of this, and this is one of those things that as I've been doing this channel, I figured out when other people like talk and comment, which is why I encourage everyone to comment and let me know and tell me your opinions. And I'm not the end-all be-all authority on this, neither is Dr. Zibarro. Nobody is. A lot of this is subjective. However, through doing this channel, there was something that I figured out, or at least I believe now that WB/the developers of this game are doing. I feel as though they have a list of toons, which I won't get into right now, but I think Bane is on that list, whereby they're easy to farm, they're fun, they aren't overpowered. So that kind of draws you into the game because you can get Bane anywhere in the game from the very beginning. And so if you can get him anywhere, he's easy to farm, he's easy to play, he's easy to deal with. And so that means that by that turn, you still don't want him to be in-game viable, but if he's a beast early and mid, then that's still more fun for the players. And he's viable in-game. You can make him work in-game. He's just not going to be the first choice that you take to go in anyway. He's not going to be your second, third, or fourth either. So I think that's kind of where he sits on the shelf. I don't think, because he's a popular, just all-around character, not just a DC Legends character, but anyone who knows anything about the DC universe knows that he is, knows who he is and knows his name. And so, with him and other certain characters, since you know their names and they're easy to farm, it kind of draws you into the game itself. And then you stick around for, your blood sports who may not be as popular as Bane, or who definitely isn't as popular as Bane. You know what I mean? I think that's why certain toons won't ever have that happen to them.
And if they added retaliation to his kit, oh, that would be so sweet.
But he already has that with his out of turn attacks. I think the one thing they could do if they because the way I'm thinking about it is if there's one tweak, I'm looking at his A2, which is gain 4 mins, light heal to Bane, gain stun immunity, crit immunity, and 2 strength ups. If they change the venom injection to just be gain 2 empowered strength ups, that means that every time you hit him, he's gaining 2 empowered strength ups. So he's ramping up a lot of empowered strength ups, and then he just becomes a skull crusher.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he has the potential to be very good.
He does. But he's still not that bad. So
Yeah, well, yeah, that's the thing. I mean, what tier is he in now? I forget.
I think you
Is
said
he
C.
B or C?
I think you said C, which is fair enough. I mean, you have to put some stuff around him to make him work. But if you run, I don't know. I feel like if you run him under Enchantress or something and get him out of
Yeah.
turn ramped up quicker, then it's come to the benefit. It's doable. Is it, like I said, is it your first, second, third, fourth choice? Not at all.
Yeah, yeah. And in the same vein, I will add my third, which is
Mhm.
Cyborg.
Okay, go for it.
Again, another one of these characters that is slow,
Hmm.
and he's been suggested as someone that can work in raids
Yeah.
because he takes time to ramp up. That's one of his biggest problems. Is he's a bit slow and he takes time to ramp up.
Let me ask you a question.
And
You said that he could work in raids, but if he takes a while to ramp up, then how does he work exactly?
because you have 2 minutes versus 30 seconds.
Fair. Okay, gotcha.
I mean, how long does a PvP match usually last? Um,
If
20,
it
30
lasts a long
seconds.
time, you're in trouble.
Well, it depends. It depends on what sort of a strategy you're taking too. If you're using
That's
a
fair.
support, if you're using a support character strategy
Hmm.
in combination, then it could take a bit longer. But
Yeah, that's fair.
if you're just cracking skulls, then then
Yeah.
then no. But Cyborg, I don't even have him leveled up, but just based on my observations of him, what other folks have said, and looking at his kit, I think he has. If they fixed if they found solutions to his slowness and his ramping up issue,
Hmm. Hmm.
because he already has the potential to hit very very hard. So
I
he's one
think
of those he has one of the potential to be slotted in your roster like another glass cannon. You know what I mean?
But he's not. Is he okay? How do I put this? I only got him up to 60-10 just because once I got him to 60-10, I was like, and this was early game actually, early stroke mid, and I was like, this guy's worthless. And the reason why I found him worthless wasn't even because I don't know how much of a glass cannon he is. I don't think, okay, is he tanky? No, but I don't think he exactly falls off very easily as well. But the thing that drove me crazy, hold on, as I go back, I'm trying to, apparently my fingers don't want to work right now. Okay, here we go. So if I go back to everything here, his HP, oh no, wow, ooh, wow. His HP pool is shallow. His HP pool is about as deep as the royal family's gene pool. Like, Jesus. Um, so yeah. Okay, never mind on that one. But the thing that drove me crazy is that his A2 is supposed to be heavy damage to an enemy. It only has a 30% chance to hit, period. And then as a legendary point, it's plus 100% crit damage. And then his A1 is gain 2 strength ups, next attack can't miss. So basically, you have to run his A1 in order to make sure that his A2 hits, which is like, why are you giving him this kind of like handicap in his kit just to start off with? Like he's already hindered by his own kit as to whether his A2 is going to work, which means 100% he doesn't work in an auto team. You can't put him in a PvE or PvP team on auto because 9 times out of 10, except for like with Lady Shiva and Black Flash for some freaking reason, like it goes in the order of A3, A2, A1, A3, A2, A1, period. So if that's the order, he's going to do his he's going to do his A3, A2. He's going to miss the A2 because it's only a 30% chance. Then he's going to do the A1, and the next hit is going to be can't miss. But then the next hit is going to be the A3 because it's going to be a cooldown sooner. So then the A2 is only going to have a 1 in 3 chance of ever hitting, which just immediately removes him from the equation no matter how much he ramps up. If his heavy hitting ability doesn't ever hit.
So, and this is the thing, and why we're speculating. If they
Mhm.
fix these problems that you've been delineating,
Mhm.
then I think he has potential.
Yeah,
But
you're right about that. Yeah.
only if they fix these problems. So we're identifying sort of the problems here.
Yeah.
All right, so let's leave it at that, and uh, I'll move on to the next one on my list, and then we can get to your list.
Oh no,
So
let's finish off your list because I'm only gonna have one on my list that I'm actually kind of passionate about, and then I wanted to get into that theory that I said about Bane, and then I'll get into Bizarro's list. So this
all
is
right,
Dr.
so,
Zibarro taking over Angreifer Gaming.
so the next one is Swamp Thing. I think Swamp Thing again suffers from power creep and from slow, but he does a lot of stuff for his teammates.
He does.
Crit helps. He helps with crit teams a lot. A lot of people think of him. He's your prototypical paladin. What in most games are called a paladin. Which is a hybrid of a healer in a character that does damage. It's a paladin is a hybrid of those two.
Okay, never knew that.
So I think he's like the quintessential paladin in the game.
Yeah.
And he suffers from power creep. So I used to use him a lot, especially in red alerts, but it's just that they're making these characters just seem like so powerful these days that he isn't lasting. He can't last. But I think, if they reworked him, he would be very good. And then the last one on my list is
actually, before you even get to the last one on your list, because this is the thing where, to further your point, so on his passive ability, Forever Green, revive once with 40% health and apply heavy overheal to all allies. 85% chance to also revive. 85% chance to also revive all allies. Apply 1 awareness and 5 minutes to allies. Here is the easy, quick fix. And I'm stealing this from another game, so I won't even mention the game because I'm a little bit upset with that game right now. But here's the quick and easy fix. Revive all allies, 100% chance to revive all allies with 100% turn meter. And outside of, he does do a lot of damage already, but the problem is that once he revives, before having 1 awareness up, it kind of help your team survive, whatever's coming, even though they have low health and the 5 mins are coming up. But fine, either have them revive with damage immunity or awareness, whatever, but give them 100% turn meter, all of them, because the main problem you're going to run into with Swamp Thing, in my view, is that if you wake up with 100% turn, if you wake up with basically no health, 1 awareness on against any team, especially if there's a black flash around, then everybody's just going to die again immediately. So they never even get a chance to fight back before they're knocked back down. So the revive is damn near worthless at that point. And even at this level, whenever I put Swamp Thing in, his A3 still hits hard as hell. Like his A1 still hits hard as hell. So I don't think damage is the issue. I think that really fix the mechanics of the revive so that maybe everyone revives with 40% health, and then 100% revive, and then have them have at least 75% turn meter and an awareness. So that way they have a good chance of actually hitting back and not just reviving to die again.
Okay, and then my last one, and I kind of picked this one last minute because we agreed to have 5, and I wasn't sure who to do.
Yeah.
But I put Wonder Woman DOJ, the Defender of Justice, and the reason I put her because she, as in the past, has been incredibly annoying, with that relentless taunting that she does.
Yes.
The thing about her, she cannot take a hit right now, and that is not something that you want to taunt her to do. If you can't take a hit, then you should not be taunting.
Yeah.
The other thing is, I never quite understood why in the hell they made her an anti-evasion character when she is Mystic Affinity and all of your evasion characters are physical affinity.
Yeah, 100%. But I think this might have been some short-sightedness on behalf of the developers in the sense of,
if she's a taunter, I do understand bringing a character say you want the mix of affinities on your team. So you want say you want that mystic character, like, oh, I'm facing a really heavy evasion team. I want a mystic on there. Then bring that mystic if that mystic works. But they shouldn't be drawing attention to themselves when all these evasion characters like Harley Quinn, Dove,
Cassandra
Cain are going to be Batgirl are going to be tearing you apart.
Damn, that's a good point. That was because I was ready to argue against this, but now that you brought that up, because here is the thought process. I'm assuming is okay. Her 8-3, which is lasso of truth, damage to an enemy can't miss. Now here's the key thing, and this is what they did with Green Lantern Hal Jordan. They fixed Wonder Woman through Green Lantern Hal Jordan, because I think initially it was okay. Well, it says can't miss, and then it purges 7 buffs from target. So this was 100% designed for Harley Quinn Mad Jester. The problem is that if she taunts and Harley Quinn gets a chance to go first, whether it's her AoE or her A1, she's going to kill Wonder Woman DOJ, especially if she's a taunter. And so the way they fixed that was Green Lantern Hal Jordan has a can't miss hammer that purges 10 buffs. And so now Harley Quinn, at least at that point, had a direct counter to her. Oh, or that, and on top of the fact of the debuff immunity. So, like with Wonder Woman DOJ, she could get enraged, she could get one shot by an AoE or a A1. Like, so the whole can't miss and purge buffs, like to your point, doesn't do a damn thing.
Yeah,
it does nothing.
So those are my 5, and really the one that I would argue, if you want to bet on anyone, bet on Dr. Fate. It would be my main point from all of this.
I would say I agree. Like, I think Dr. Fate, and this is the other thing too, with some of the reworks, it's like the easiest small little tweak, especially the ones that you name, where it's like, just change this one thing about Wonder Woman DOJ and she will be better. But I do think Dr. Fate, like to your point, has the most potential to have a small tweak, which they'll never do a small tweak. They'll change a couple things, but to have a small tweak and end up being a beast in the game. But the one that I did want to mention, and it's based purely on marketing, and I'm surprised that she wasn't reworked this month. And that is because a movie just came out, and apparently this movie is so good that it makes the first movie seemed like it never existed, and that was Harley Quinn Quite Vexing. Now, she already looks like Margot Robbie. They made that they definitely tried to make her look like Margot Robbie, which I'm not complaining about. But at the end of the day, I think she has potential within her kit to be good, but she is lost in a sea of a bunch of physicals that just hit harder, evade, or just do more outright than she does. But given that Suicide Squad came out and it's actually doing pretty well, or people saying that it's a pretty good movie, especially versus that dumpster fire that the first movie was, then especially compared to, I never saw Birds of Prey. Was Birds of Prey any good? Because I heard it wasn't, and so I stayed away from it.
I didn't end up watching that, so I can't comment.
Okay. Like, I was scared to watch it because I liked the Harley Quinn character from Suicide Squad, and I liked how Margot Robbie does Harley Quinn, but it seemed as though those two movies, Suicide Squad was a dumpster fire, and it felt like Birds of Prey was going to be much of the same, and so I just kind of stayed away from it. I mean, maybe I'll go watch it later to punish myself for, I don't know, whatever. And Harley Quinn Quite Vexing, they just did Mad Jester, a few months ago? Not that long, last year, but not too long ago.
Yeah, and she didn't even need a rework.
Exactly. And they made her even more of a beast and even more infuriating. But
I swear to God, there has to be someone on that dev team that's in love with her.
But then explain this to me, because it has to be a fanboy. The reason why I say that is because they only rework Harley Quinn Mad Jester over and over and over again. And Harley Quinn, quite vexing. I have not seen rework number the one for her yet. And she is the one who is literally, if you look at it, her shirt even says Daddy's Little, what is it, Daddy's Little Monster? Like that is directly from the Suicide Squad movie, like just like Joker Suicide Squad is. And so if you're trying to market something for Birds of Prey or for, the new Suicide Squad movie, why aren't you doing the one who's literally modeled after the actor who, female actor who is playing the role? Why do you keep doing the comic book one? So therefore, whoever he or she is, who's a fanboy or girl of Harley Quinn, is a fanboy or girl of Harley Quinn from 1992 animated series Batman, which just makes me love that fanboy girl more. Because that was probably the best animated series to come out up until Avatar. So I think that maybe next month, just as a further promotion for the movie, because I'm in Switzerland, so let me know if I'm off base, but it was released in theaters and on streaming, right?
I don't know.
I think it was released on both, which means that there's still space for it to be promoted even further throughout next month as well.
Yeah.
So I think that Harley Quinn, quite vexing, deserves a rework, and we'll probably get one.
I can't really comment on any of that because I haven't been consuming anything for a while because I've been busy with other things.
Yeah, no, trust me, I feel you. There are like 3 animated movies. They came out with Batman, the Long Halloween animated movie. Both parts, I have them, and I have not had a chance to watch them yet. So as soon as I get a chance, that's what I'm going for. So I'm going to transition over, and the subject or the topic or the main guy I'm going to use for this topic is going to be Batman CC. Now, why am I talking about Batman CC? Batman CC is going to be one of those toons, like we were discussing before, like with Bane, and I'll just go ahead and say Bane, Deadshot Hired Gun. Wonder Woman DOJ was on this list, but now I have to take her off because your logic was just too good, and I can't really argue it. And then Green Arrow Emerald Knight, who I heard is still good and viable. But basically, I believe also Zatanna is on that list. I believe these are tunes that are never going to be reworked because in their, I guess, development of the game, they're going to want to have tunes that are popular. Batman, who's more popular than Batman? Superman, maybe, but Superman are the frags that you get for completing those campaign missions, whatever. Bane, Batman, one of Batman's better known enemies. Okay, fine. You have Deadshot Hired Gun, which maybe you can make an argument for. But my basic argument is that not every tune in the game can be incredible. And so by that token, that means that some of them have to be awesome in the early game, awesome in the mid game, and then end game viable. And the reason why I said the same thing with Wonder Woman DOJ is that I believe, and viewers, please let me know, I believe that she still is awesome in the mid game. She's just not great in end game. So I'm not sure if people are still running into this whole like Wonder Woman DOJ is a monster and I don't know how to deal with her situation.
Yeah.
So that is the thought process or the concept that I had behind those tunes. I feel like some of them are still great in early to mid game, and then that some of them are just, and then that's where they're going to stay. That's where they want them to stay. That's where they believe they should be. So
I do think there's a potential for them to be reworked, maybe, but I'm not really disagreeing either because folks have been asking for Batman CC work and as a ton of rework for as long as I can remember, and I've been playing this for years, and it hasn't been delivered. So yeah, maybe we will never see them.
Put it this way, I feel as though, and they've actually done it twice already. I feel as though they'll put another Batman in the game before they rework Batman CC. And they did put the Batman Dark Knight in, and then the Batman Who Laughs. Both of them have entered the game
Wouldn't
at
that
this
be the
point.
greatest slap in the face?
Oh no, they'll do it. They'll do like a Batman Long Halloween or a Batman animated series or a Batman
Well,
Ben
we got
Affleck,
Batman Who
whatever.
Laughs.
Yeah, exactly. And so like they'll do that before they rework Batman CC. But here's my question. If
Mhm.
they do that though, do you really think that's a slap in the face? Because I don't think it would be.
It's like, well, I only say that insofar as I know a lot of people have been asking for Batman CC rework for a long, long, long time,
Yes. Over 3 years.
and is not, and they're not delivering.
Mm-mm. And what the
So
sad part is that I think the Batman Who Laughs, I hear people who are fans of him, but at the same time, I don't think he's great.
I
I think the
don't. I
consensus is that
actually,
he's not really that good.
if he's reworked, if they only just did minor retweaks to him, I think he'll hit hard because he hits hard now.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's going to be that great.
Mm.
If they even if they did rework him, I would say yes. I would like to see him reworked. I did actually level him up when he was at 10x in the
Yeah.
raid last
Yeah.
year. I'm
Yeah.
like, well, maybe 10x will have, maybe 10x will work.
Did it work though? Because
And
I have him RB2, but I just never, I still never use him. I'm trying to use him right now in a video, to be quite honest, and it's just not working out for me. I've lost 3 times in a row. Like just to try to make this point, I'm like trying to put him in a PvP match where it's like, hey, I'm giving you Clayface, so you already have invisibility, so you should crit on your A3, which is fantastic, but my team just keeps getting wrecked. So in any case, go ahead. Did he perform at 10x?
I can't remember. I can't remember. I
Which
think at
means
least
no.
the other one I think that unfortunately that a lot of folks would like to see, and Nightwing did have a rework sometime, but it was before 2019.
Yeah.
I believe when I checked the records. But
Mhm.
I unfortunately do not think that if they rework Nightwing that he will be that much. He'll be improved, but I don't think he's going to be a solid character. And that's
Well,
unfortunate because I think a lot of folks really endeared to that character and would like
I
to see.
love Nightwing. I absolutely love Nightwing, and I would love to see him actually be a decent character in the game. But it's
But
like, but I go ahead.
if we're betting, if in other words, I guess a lot of this video is about who would we bet on, and I wouldn't bet on Nightwing.
No, no chance. I wouldn't either. There's no chance I would bet on him. Well, no, no, wait, time out though, because they've already. Oh, I'm about to get ruined by Cassandra Cain. Because they've already given him like 2 reworks,
Yeah,
and so, and at this point, it's kind of like I get. How do
has
I
it
put
been
it?
two?
It's
I
been
thought
two.
it's
I
really.
remember there being. Has it been more than 2? Because I know there's been at least 2.
I'd have to go check. There is a list. There is a list of all the reworks
Yeah.
some
Okay.
folks put together, but I only remember one, but I could be wrong.
Okay. Because at that point, it's like it sounds bad, but if you're gonna do a rework that sucks, I'd rather you just not do it. Like, why am I? I'm not gonna get invested in a character. Or I don't want to get invested in a character that's just gonna end up being straight trash in the like after the rework. So if that's going to be the case and that's how you're gonna run things, then just forget it. Leave it off. Don't even worry. You've already screwed up the rework twice, so then forget it. Don't do it. That's kind of how I feel about it. But it feels as though they've given Harley Quinn like 3 reworks, and the last one she didn't even need. So it feels as though they have a lit, and I mean, I'm not saying this is some kind of conspiracy theorist or whatever, but they have a list of tunes that they're allowed to rework and a list of tunes that they just can't, they're not allowed to touch. And it's like, okay, well, these 20 are going to be this way because they're perfect in the roles that we need them in. You're never going to be allowed to rework them. However, if you want to give Harley Quinn 20 reworks, go for it. Knock yourself out. That's how I feel about it, at least.
They need to just do. Uh, um, I don't know what they call this, but when you go in and you essentially do a leveling event where you update all the characters, not their powers, but their stats, so that the older characters are more usable. So just a bump because of power creep.
Yeah.
And I've heard some folks make this argument before, and I've also I think it was on the WROL broadcast that one of the owls had made that point, and I absolutely agree with it. And I think that I can't remember who it was, or I'd give them credit, but I think they said that other games have done that too.
Yeah, I was a part of a game that did that, and actually what they did was they didn't necessarily change any of the stats, but what they did, they had this massive, it was Contest of Champions, Marvel's Contest of Champions. And they had this massive like overhaul of something. I can't even remember what it was. But what they then did was they gave you a bunch of forgiveness tokens. Like you had like 20 or 50 or whatever. And you could go into whatever toon that you wanted and remove all of the resources from that toon and drop them back down to 0 and put those resources into other toons. And it was just like this gigantic amnesty of, okay, well, because we've changed this gigantic thing, we're going to forgive all of the resources that you've put into, well, not all of them, but we're going to give you these tokens to go back and redo, like, I think it was like 20, it might have been more, this many characters, so you can redo and put your resources into the ones that you want to. And that was like a huge overhaul, but it was really, really good for the game. I stopped playing that game. Maybe I should go back, but it was really, really good for the game. And I was like, that's awesome that they would just like, you know what? We're making a big, big change, and we could just screw you over and leave it and you guys figure it out. But no, take some of the resources back from the toons that you have, and you can put them in somewhere else, because God knows we could make a list right now of the 10 toons I would want to strip resources from and put into something else.
Yeah. I would love to see that. I don't think we ever will, though. And the main reason is I'm pretty sure that WB, the company, not the dev team, but just the company, is not invested in this game. They're not
gonna put the resources into it.
They're doing maintenance right now. They're not exactly. For the most part.
Yeah.
So
so before we have to get on out of here, and this is already, we always do this. I always say like, oh, the video's not going to be that long, and then 52 minutes later. I wanted to go through Bizarro #1's list that he put down in the comment section as to the toons that he thinks would be reworked. So basically, it was give me the 5 toons you think need reworks the most, and Dr. Zibarro and I will discuss them. One of them we've already discussed, but I'll go ahead and just go ahead and like spell out the other ones. And that would be, so Bane was discussed, Joker SS, Captain Atom, and Doomsday. Now, I will say this, Captain Atom basically needed a rework from the day he started. Like, he was never good. I boosted him up 70-11 as soon as he came out, and there was nothing else behind it. Adam himself, just straight up Adam, I never leveled him, never did anything with him, have no real experience with him per se, but I don't see him around, so I mean, I'm inclined to agree. Doomsday, he's one of those, like, how do I put it? One of those I don't think is going to get reworked because of the statements I made before, but maybe he does. He's still a PvE king, as even Bizarro puts in there, but I don't see where they're going to rework Doomsday, especially since they just had an event for him not too long ago. And then Joker Suicide Squad, I mean, go for it. I hate Joker Suicide Squad in the first place, but I mean, I don't know. What do you think of his list of needed reworks?
Oh, I think they're needed. That's for sure. I mean, in fact, the list of 20 that I gave, because we've started to move out of the territory of farmable characters.
Yeah.
Which is fine if we're going to add a little addendum to the end of this video.
Oh, well, to be fair to him, I never told him that they had to be farmable characters. I just said characters, period.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so to be fair to his list, yeah.
One thing I would like to do, though, if folks want to engage in discussion in the comments below,
Hmm.
to stick to those 20 characters, the
Hmm.
farmable characters, and
Hmm.
I would put out there, who would you bet on? You know,
Yeah.
who would
Yeah.
you?
Who would you gamble to say are the next two reworks from the farmable list?
Not necessarily who will be reworked,
Hmm.
but you could speculate. So you could speculate on two things: who will be reworked and who won't. But
Hmm.
the second thing would be speculating on if reworked,
Hmm.
regardless of whether you think they will or they won't. Who do you
Hmm.
think would actually be good? Who would you
Yeah.
bet on? In other words, who would you bother to collect character fragments of
Hmm.
because they are farmable
Hmm.
and bet on them and collect those?
Okay.
And I mean, we have gone on for a while. So would you like to end it?
So yeah, we'll end it there actually because we have, like I've always said about us, and maybe I've never said this in a video, but I have definitely said this when I've been on the phone with you. We are a loquacious pair, and we are very capable of talking for a very, very long time about damn near any topic. Honestly, if
No.
you think this conversation is interesting, and God knows if you've listened to us for this last hour, then God love you. But if you want to hear us be able to just carry on a conversation, this we talk about everything like this for an hour. I only have 15 minutes. 45 minutes later, we're still talking. So, in any case, I will give a special, special thanks to Dr. Zibarro as my girlfriend is standing in front of me with a green face. Yeah, and trying not to laugh so she's not heard on the microphone. But I will give a very special thanks to Dr. Zibarro for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for the idea. This was all your baby. So thank you for that idea. And I will say I drop DC Legends videos every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Marvel Future Revolutions videos every Tuesday and Thursday, and Radio Challenge videos weekly. So please like, please subscribe, and if you don't like it, hit subscribe and hit dislike. I'm okay with that as well. Please check out the links below, help support the channel. And I'm thinking about doing a Patreon where it's like well, you guys know what Patreon is. If you're at all interested, please let me know, and then I will try to get that up as soon as possible. Honestly, I'm looking for like 10 people to say that they're interested, and then there's another idea that I would like to launch on that. So if 10 people say it's okay, then boom, I'll go ahead and start it. So thank you guys for watching all the way through, and I'll see you next time.